Hey, good evening or good morning, everybody. It is the wee hours of March 26, 2017, and I have a little bit of good news. I guess you would call it Ryan care. I will not call it Trump care because Trump had nothing to do with the bill, except trying to promote it, which I think kind of half-heartedly. But Ryan care was pulled from the vote yesterday, or Friday, say, due to not enough votes to pass, which is good. I thank the Freedom Caucus especially, because any Republican that stuck their head out in front of a microphone and said, we're giving the American people what they promised, is a bold-faced lie. 60 plus times in 8 years, they presented the full repeal bill, passed in Congress, I believe passed in the Senate to Obama, and he vetoed it 60 plus times. They knew it wouldn't pass, so it was a big game. So now, Donald Trump would sign a full repeal if you put it on his desk, but you notice how that full repeal bill has not seen the light of day since January 20th, and I seriously doubt it will. They talk about now letting Obamacare explode and fall apart on its own, which I don't think is a responsible thing to do either. I think it should be fully repealed, put a few provisions in for the states to take care of their poor, open the free market up so they can go across state boundaries and have more insurance companies for people in certain states to choose from. Some states only have 1, 2, and I believe there's some that have no viable insurance companies to choose from. And if you only have one, you're at their mercy. That's a monopoly. Like Arizona, 116% healthcare cost raise. Now, I don't know how a raise that high gets passed. I don't know what causes healthcare to become more than doubled in one shot. But this bill was a lie to the American people. This is not what we wanted. This is not what we elected these fucks for. We elected them for the repeal. We got your asses in office for the repeal. For the repeal, the border wall, lowering the taxes, getting business and jobs to come back, and we're talking about personal taxes and business taxes. Because we know, one thing we know through history, you lower taxes, you increase revenue. So any moron that thinks they got to keep raising taxes for the sake of raising taxes for the revenue is full of shit. It's been proven time again. You lower the taxes, you raise the revenues, because the economy kicks into a higher gear. And that's what we need. We need our economy to kick into the higher gear. We could do things a lot more cleaner, a lot more efficiently. So, we don't need EPA regulations rolling over us. EPA should be gone at the federal level. It should be a state concern. Now, I can understand where maybe a very small EPA for the federal government, if there is some complaints between two states, like somebody polluting the Colorado River, say in Colorado or wherever it comes from, and Arizona is reaping some of that pollution and they want to complain about it. Now, if they can't work out something with the states, maybe there is some federal mediation that might need to be made. But to have an all-inclusive federal hammer banging on all the citizens in all the states for all time is ridiculous. Just on the news today, I seen these people running around. Education's a right. No. Education's a privilege. You're not entitled to an education, a free education. Because somewhere, somebody is paying for that education, whether it's you or not. Education, there should be many outlets. The federal government should not have a monopoly on education. The National Teachers Union, the NEA, needs to be abolished also. There's no... And let's just put it this way. We never had problems with children falling behind with the rest of the world before 1978, from what I can remember. Schools weren't perfect, but they were run by the local municipalities. What the locals want their children to learn, besides from the basics, reading, writing, arithmetic, history. Because right now, your federal government has no mandate on civics, nor is civics really taught in the schools. That's why today, most children or people freshly out of school, public school, government school, they claim they think socialism would work. Now, why would they think that unless their government's putting it into their brains that the socialist way should be the right way, it's the fair way? No, it's not the fair way. The fair way is government stays the fuck out of my way so I can make my own way in life, and I'll do as I please. Now, if I make a success out of myself, fine. If I don't, that's on me. That's my ambition. That's my liberty to do what I want with myself. As long as I'm not hurting, robbing, stealing, murdering anybody, raping anybody, as long as I'm trying to make an honest living, it's nobody's concern. As long as I'm not hurting anybody. And that includes polluting the lands and trespassing and physical bodily harm. Well, may I digress? I have gone into areas again that I wasn't expected, but I just wanted to really say is I'm glad this health care bill was defeated, because it was a piece of shit from the start and a lie. That's not what you were promising us for our votes. We wanted a repeal. Now, put the repeal out like you said. That's what we want, and that's what we expect. So, I would get in touch with your congressmen, your senators, and even tweet Trump. What the hell? He's on Twitter all the time. And say, look, you promised us repeal, give us the damn repeal. And we'll take it from there. All right, guys. And let's hope our border wall gets built soon, because not too far from me in Maryland, I wish I remembered most of the details, but I think it was a 17 and an 18-year-old from Guatemala and El Salvador raped a 14-year-old girl in their school. Now, the 17 and 18-year-old were students in this school in the 9th grade. And we're not even sure if they're really 17 and 18 years old. They could be 20, 25 for all we know. But they were wanted by ICE, and Maryland refused to give them up. And as a result, this girl got brutally raped. She got fucked. She got anally fucked. They forced her to blow the guys. And I'll tell you what, if that was my daughter, those guys ought to be real fucking happy they're in jail. Because you don't want my hands on them. Because I would do things with my bare hands you didn't think possible. I don't need a weapon to have you scream for your life. I kid you not. But this is what it comes to when we ignore the law. And Maryland wants to be the first sanctuary state in the country. And they have no jurisdiction over immigration law. Since 1808, the federal government is in charge of immigration. And if they don't want to abide by the law, these people ought to be arrested and tried for sedition, treason, whatever. If we don't obey the law, we go to jail. So if these politicians don't want to obey the law, they go to jail. Let some fucking hardened convict fuck them in the ass for a few years while they think about it in prison. Maybe you'll think about obeying the law a little better when ICE comes up and says, we got some bad people in your state and we want them. So, I would get on your politicians about that. Get these people out of here that don't belong here. You always hear the liberal cry sob story, which is really the authoritarian sob story. Oh, we're breaking up families and blah, blah, blah. Well, I'll tell you what, the family can move back with them. We're not stopping that. You came here illegally. You made these choices. These choices have consequences. Has consequences to you, has consequences to your family. And if you don't want to think about those consequences, don't tell me to feel guilty about them. That's about it. So, we got two things we really got to worry about right now. And, of course, the taxes. I'd love the taxes to go down. We do have thousands of jobs coming back into this country. The media is not going to tell you about it. You're going to have to look it up for yourself. You're going to have to dig for it on the internet and find it. But you will find that good things are happening in this country because of Donald Trump and some of the Republicans. But there's still a lot of the enemy inside the gate. And hopefully Trump is doing all he can to dispatch with the enemy. Paul Ryan is in one of those top of the list. He's one of the tops that got to go. And he proved he's got no juice by the failure of this health care bill, which was a fucking lie. Next politician, I swear you ought to play whack-a-mole. And everyone that sticks their head up and says, it was a promise to the American people, got whacked on the fucking head with a hammer. Just for being a fucking liar. Alright, everybody. Remember, Trump getting in office isn't the end of the war. It was just the winning of the first battle. The war is yet to be won. Have a good night, everybody. Or a good morning. And it is wee hours of the Sunday morning. So, hope everybody has a good Sabbath. Thank you.